Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back once again. This is Jeremy, and this is the Crew First Culture podcast. Thank you again so very much for spending some time with me today. If this is your first time, thank you so very much for joining us. I hope that you will go back and listen to some older episodes, especially the ones with some really amazing guests, just some great conversations. I talked about several of them with people over this last week at FDIC, just some people that I would have never had the opportunity to talk to if it wasn't for this podcast. So I'm so very thankful for that. So thank you for your time. Thank you for joining me. I just wanted to talk about basically about that, about that network, about finding your tribe. Now, that's really not a word that I've ever used. I love team, crew. I don't know, just lots of words like that. I'm a very team oriented person. That's probably one of the biggest reasons I was kind of or I almost said suspicious. I don't think that's right. I was interested in what the fire service had to offer, was that team environment, because I was a big sports guy. I played baseball all my life. I loved that team atmosphere. I played football for a few years in high school. Same thing there. It's just something that I'm drawn to. And one of the coolest things about what we do is we have that same opportunity, is that to build a great team and to live basically a third of our lives for those that are doing it as a career, with a second family, that we can build a great team, or like I used to begin with, a tribe. And so that's something that I want to talk about. I mentioned it last episode, mentioned it several times. The guys that are with the TRT team, tactical resiliency training, that is a true tribe. That's truly where I first really started understanding what the word tribe looks like and feels like. I've been a part of some great teams, been a part of some good teams. I've never been a part of a team so close, so invested, so emotionally in tuned and invested in each other than this team. It is truly amazing to see and to be a part of. That is a tribe. And I should have been more prepared to give a true definition of the word tribe, because that would probably kind of lay some groundwork here. But just gonna go with what I feel and what I see, because that's what it is. They have taught me so much, and I'm very new to that tribe. But one thing it has taught me is the importance of having your group, your people, and if you are lucky enough to have your tribe. Our job, our calling, whatever you want to call it, it's so demanding, it's so taxing. A lot of us face situations that are just hard to bear sometimes. The mental health of people in the fire service is struggling overall. And the biggest factor in, as far as how I feel and as far as what I see, the biggest factor in how well and how poorly people deal with this is the circle that they surround themselves with. Are they surrounding themselves with people like those that I'm describing, that are truly there to care for them, that are truly there to lift them up, to challenge them, to be with them every step of the way? Or are they surrounding themselves with people that just want to take them out for drinks every night, or just want to drown that depression or that anxiety or whatever it is they're facing with some substance. That's a big difference. I've heard from so many people, I don't know who to contribute it to, but the old saying of look at the 5 people closest to you. If those people are turds, you're going to be the 6th turd. If those people are all stars or studs or great people, then you're going to be the 6th of that as well. Who you surround yourself with is going to affect your future, is going to affect your present. It has such a huge outcome on your life. And I will say that first of all, please find good people. If you don't have good people to be around, to hang out with, to lean on, to reach out to, you got to find some new people. And trust me, I am not an outgoing, bubbly, just networking kind of person easily. But I love it. I love doing it. I'm just not very good at the whole right out of the gate thing. I'm not very good at meeting new people or starting new relationships. Once I've met them and once we're kind of getting to know each other, that's where I'm fine. It's just the meeting new people. So I'm not trying to make it sound super easy. For me, it's not either. But for me, it is so important. And I talked last episode about kind of a takeaway that I got from FDIC. This is another one. And so one of the nights, we were at a place that was completely full of people, and it was just amazing. I said it several times to several different people. It was literally like living in Instagram. Everywhere you looked was people that we follow. The people that we follow on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, it's like they were all there. It was so kind of surreal. I met so many people that, like I said, last episode, they have no clue who I am still. But it was just so fun to meet so many amazing people and listen to stories and just watch the interactions. It was so cool. But there was somebody that has another podcast that was there as well, and he asked me a few times, are you kind of setting up episodes with all these people that you're talking to, and just before I responded to him, it was just interesting, kind of my thought process, as the split second that I had to think it through before I said it was almost like, I guess I haven't really even thought about it. And my response to him verbally, what I actually said was, no, honestly, I don't ever really talk about the podcast unless somebody brings it up. And I don't mean that in a kind of a snooty way. I just mean that in that situation, and this is what I told him, man, that the priority for me in that environment is connection. That is it. I have zero desire to try to get into some business end of just setting up podcasts and meeting people just for podcasts. I just don't. Honestly, I really struggle when I am asked by people that I don't know to be on as a guest. It's not that I am overlooking people that I don't know. It's not that feel like I'm above people that, I don't really know. I am just very cautious of it. I don't know why that is, but I guess because this podcast it's not really, I'm not really doing it to and this is where it would be very beneficial to think through this stuff before I start recording, but it just kind of comes out. I don't do this podcast to promote people's businesses. I don't do this podcast to promote people's, you know, merchandise that I don't really know anything about. If I have somebody on, and I had to learn this lesson because it did happen, and it was very awkward for me. It only happened once, but I won't do it again. But if they're on this podcast and we are talking about, a book or a training company or some type of tool or whatever, it's because I know them. I know what they are selling. I believe in it, and I'm okay with that. But this podcast is honestly, it's it's here to tell people's story. And I'm not really comfortable getting into that with people if I don't know at least a little bit about their story first of all. You know what I mean? And I'm just that's what I was doing. I was connecting. I never mentioned a podcast. Not that it I'm not trying to make it sound like it was an awful thing to ask me, or to even if he was trying to do that for himself. It's not bad. It if you have a podcast and you're in a group like that, man, that's a great opportunity to start trying to find some hosts. There were several years worth of pod, podcast guests there, but that's just not why I'm doing it. I want to connect with people first. There are a lot of people that I met, a lot of people that I talked to that, they're amazing people. They're heads of the fire service industry, but they're they're not people that I would just be excited to have on here, because this show is about more than just somebody talking about tactics. This show is more than somebody just kind of being goofy firemen. Which I'm not saying anything bad about either one. I love to joke around and all that, but this show is about sharing people's stories and being real and learning lessons from others, and just life, real life. And so I can't truly share that if I am not connected with those people. So that was kind of the lesson, just and I never really thought about it like that until he asked me. So I'm glad he asked me, and I'm glad that I was able to share that with him. I hope I didn't make him feel bad in that answer, because if he was looking for guests, I don't want to detract from that. Like I said, it is very reasonable to take advantage of that situation if that was the case. It just wasn't something that was on my mind. I was truly just trying to soak up as much from the environment and from the people that I was able to talk to as I could. And what came from that afterwards, if it led to exchanging contact information and bringing somebody on as a guest, that would be great. But I just don't want that to be the reason I do anything. I am so thankful for what this podcast has brought. Like I've said earlier, I'm so blown away by, the amount of downloads that it has. We're sitting around 116,000 now, which compared to a lot of other even fire service podcasts isn't much, is not impressive. But for me, I would have never thought it got this far. And I know that it can continue to grow, because I know we are sharing some great messages that a lot of people need to hear. And so that kind of showed me right there the importance of that network and the importance of that connection for me. I truly wanted to take, it's almost like that FDIC trip was a sponge And I just wanted to squeeze every last tiny little drop out of it that I could. Just get as much out of that trip as I could, just as far as connecting with people and meeting new people. And you know, uh, several times there were people that stopped me and shook my hand and kind of introduced themselves because they were listeners. And it only happened a few times, but for that even to happen once, it just blew me away because honestly, I am not any different than anybody out there. I'm truly not. I am just willing to share the life that a lot of people either aren't willing to share or are just okay with ignoring it. That's the only difference. And I'm so thankful that I have a platform that allows me to do the same for others that are willing to share. So connection, so big. It is so important, especially if you are somebody that is a leader around the firehouse. Informal, formal, I don't care. Connection is huge. You have got to work on your connection if you want to have anything special as far as a crew or firehouse culture. Connection is vital. Spend time together, talk, grow together, train together. Connection does not happen apart. I hate being with crews that they might be together around mealtime and then it's like roaches at the light on. You never see anybody the rest of the day. I can't stand that. I hate it. I would rather just stay home. I want to be around people that want to be together because I truly value that connection and I know where that connection leads, and that connection leads to excellent teams and exceptional firehouse culture. So that's all I got to say. I mentioned some podcasts last episode. Just please be aware of those. I'll start posting them when they start coming out. If you're around Atlanta in the middle of May, maybe I'll see you at MAFC, I hope. If not, then I am going to try to sneak my way into this developing high performance crew as much as I can, because it's truly an honor to be a part of them. So keep an eye out for the great things that they're doing over at Technical Resiliency Training. Great guys. And until next time, thank you for your time. Have a great day, week, whatever it is. And as always, stay humble and do work.